But I saw today that Afghanistan is going to go to this NATO meeting. And they have a little minor request because they're a stable country now and it's unified and everything is settled. So that government, which is purely a democratic elected government, has nothing to do with our empire. But they're making a request to the United States and to NATO for $5 billion a year for 5 years. So just casually, yeah, we're coming there. We're your guy.
Have your checkbook ready.
So take care of it.
But I think, this whole idea of the war of choice is that the military action was not the last resort. There was no imminent threat. That's from the report. And a war of choice is really, by definition, a war crime. You're not being threatened. You're not in any way threatened by Saddam, yet you choose to go to war. They also found that it undermined the UN Security Council. They knew they couldn't get a Security Council vote because the French were against it. Turns out they were right at the time. They went against that. The WMD's threat was, quote, presented with a certainty that was not justified. And there were a couple of other things. There was no post-war planning. They believed their lies that we'll be greeted with flowers and they'll sing songs about us and all this sort of thing.
Ron, imagine if Russia recomposed the Warsaw Pact and brought into the organization Cuba, Mexico, Venezuela, Guatemala, and announced that they were going to send Russian military troops and missiles along the southern border there with Mexico and the United States, that it was only for peace, that the Americans just didn't need to be concerned about this, that it was all just for stability and to protect these countries from U.S. potential aggression. We can all imagine what the reaction of U.S. officials would be. That this is nonsense. This is threatening. It's aggressive, and it's no different from what NATO is doing over there now.
Russia is the big enchilada. If you can get Russia as your adversary, if you can create this impression that there's this huge monolith, then everyone's going to clamor for protection that the NATO bureaucrats and the military-industrial complex is so happy to provide.
Good morning, Dr. Paul. It's great to be with you. And yes, we're going to talk about the lifeblood of peaceful civilization, and that's trade. And so let's start at the basics, the very basics. There's two primary ways that a person can get what they want in this world. One is the peaceful way, which is trade, voluntary trade with others, and the other is the violent way, which is politics and government force to get what you want. Now, we're always advocating as libertarians the peaceful way, yet there's a lot of pushback for violence. So, Dr. Paul, please delve into this very simple concept that has been buried under thousands of pages of regulations.
Yes, and both forms have been around for a long time because they contest each other. It's natural to have free and voluntary trade because people own property. They're supposed to own the fruits of their labor, and they're supposed to use money in order to call up transactions. But there's also those people who would like to use force. They could use force as individuals, but most likely, most of the damage has been done by special interests, special groups who will use the government to use the force and to control the trade.